There are a few things I want to show you when it comes to your PowerPoint environment that you can customize. First off is the status bar. You can see it's displaying the slide number, also the notes and the comments. To be able to hide those or find out whether options can be displayed on the status bar, go ahead and right-click anywhere on the orange bar, and you get the customized status bar. Now to remove the notes, go ahead and click on it to uncheck it, and the notes have been removed from being displayed on the status bar. Go ahead and click on it again to check it, and they're back. By default, everything's checked except for theme. Ooh, big choice. Go ahead and check it, and it says the theme that's currently being applied to all the slides within the presentation is the Office theme. And we'll talk about themes later, but let's keep it simple here to customizing the status bar by unchecking it. And then when we're done, just go ahead and click off in a blank area, and it closes the menu. Now, speaking of themes, you do have an application theme for like your PowerPoint window. So you see how you've got a white working area against a white background. If you want something more contrasting that separates your working area from the background in this case, instead of just a thin border, but something in addition to it, like a different shade of, let's say, gray. In fact, let me show you the different options you get. You can come up here and click on the File tab, go backstage down to Options. General is selected by default, and in the section, Personalize your copy of Microsoft Office, notice how it doesn't say PowerPoint because what you do in this section is for all of the other Office applications that you have installed on your computer, like Excel, Word, Access. So if we want to change the Office theme, again, it's not PowerPoint theme, it's for all the Office applications, then go ahead and click on the drop-down arrow. The default's white. What other options do you get? Ooh, a whole 3. That's fun. So go ahead and choose one. I'm going to go to dark gray. And before I click OK, notice that I've got the orange status bar and also the orange file tab and the white working area against a white background. Click OK, and hey, I've got a black status bar, black tab. Also, I've got the white working area against a dark shade of gray and a little lighter shade of gray for the working area of the tab, the home tab on the ribbon here. So that helps me identify the working areas and the non-working areas, a little bit something more contrasting here than just borders here. Now remember, what you do in one Office application, like we did in PowerPoint, affects all the other Office applications when it comes to your themes. So if I come down here and I open up Excel, there's the shortcut on the taskbar, click on it. It affects that as well. Now if I want to change the Office theme back to white, because that seems prettier to have the, well, in PowerPoint, the orange bar, you don't have to go back to PowerPoint. You can do it in Excel or any of the other Office applications to change the Office theme for all the Office applications. Click on File. Just follow the same steps. Go backstage to Options. General is selected by default. Come down here, Office theme, change it to white. Click OK. Whew, there we go, back to white. Close out, and PowerPoint is back to white. White working area against a white background. Let's go backstage, File to Info. And notice over here, the author is, hey, it's me. How did it know it was me? Man, Microsoft is really doing their homework. And you may notice on your computer, it may be like the name of your computer, but if you don't have your name there, the way to change this so it is your name anytime you create a presentation or a document or an Excel spreadsheet, because this applies to all of the Office applications, then come backstage and come over here and select Options. Again, General selected by default. And we're in the same section as we just came to for Office theme for username and initials, because this applies to all of Office, not just PowerPoint. Otherwise, it would have said PowerPoint here. So there are 3 useful things for typing in your name and initials, is because they're tied to the author. So when you create, in this example, the presentation, your name's going to be listed as the author. It'll also tie it to comments if you insert any comments within the presentation, and also identify you when you're sharing the presentation with others and vice versa. So if somebody makes a change in your presentation and you're keeping track of changes, it'll say, hey, Bob Jones made the change. And it will only say his name if within his copy of Microsoft Office on his computer, he changed the username to his name and not having whatever else by default is in that username box. Okay, other things you can do to customize your environment. Let's go to the Save category. And the box that I'm looking at here is Don't Show Backstage when opening or saving files. Now for me, I don't like it not checked because I don't want to be able to see the backstage when I'm opening or saving a file. So if it's not checked, watch what happens. Let me click OK. When I come up here and click Save, it takes me backstage. Because this is the first time that I'm saving my presentation, it wants to do a save as. So it takes me backstage, goes to save as, it selected the computer, and I always save it to the computer first, not to the cloud or any other place. Then I have to come over here and click on Browse, and it opens up the Save As window. Because again, it's the first time I'm saving it, it's going to ask me two questions. What's the name of the presentation? You can keep it generic. And where do you want to save it? So let's click Cancel and come down here to Options and go to Save and say, I don't want to see the backstage, because that will cut down an extra click for me or two. When I check this and click OK, and then I click Save, boom, it opens up the Save As window right there. I don't have to go backstage, look where I'm at, and then click on Browse if I want to save it to my computer, and then it opens up the Save As window. Hey, if it cuts out an extra click, then congratulations, you're more efficient. So that's the difference there. Let me go ahead and click Cancel. Let's go ahead and click on File, go to Options, Backstage. Let's go to Save again. And then here, the default file location, I don't know if you noticed this, but when I clicked on Save and it went to Save As, it said, where do you want to save it? The default location it wants to save, if you rewind the video, is going to be in the Documents folder. Well, let's go ahead and click Cancel and click on Save. There it is, Documents folder, right? Click Cancel. Let's click File, Options, Save. And instead of saving that to the Documents folder, maybe I want that saved to my desktop. So I just need to know the address, and I know the address to my desktop is, well, there's the hard drive, the users on this computer. I'm logged in as training, and when I'm logged in as training, anything I save, I don't want it to be the documents, I want it to be the desktop. So when I click Okie dokie, and I click on Save, hey, it goes right to the desktop. In fact, if you want, and this helps, click Cancel. Let me come up here and minimize that down to the taskbar. And on my desktop, I have the exercises folder. If I double click on that to open it up, and I want to be able to save everything by default into this folder location, exercises, come over here and click on the folder. It'll change it to the address. Go ahead and right click on that to copy it. Close out. Come back down here to the taskbar, click on the button to restore the program, and then you can go File, to Options, to Save, and then come in here and Control V as in Victor to paste. And then you don't have to figure out from memory where that's at or how you type it in. It's automatically just done for you if you can go ahead and copy and paste. And again, I want this to be my desktop, so I'll just delete Exercises, which is the folder on my desktop. Next, you have the option of saving this every, well, by default it's 10 minutes. So if you don't save your presentation, as you probably ought to if you do a lot of major changes, even just a little, it's like every time I make a change, I quickly click on Save. But if you want something that saves it every so many minutes, then go ahead and set it here. The lowest you can go is 1 minute, all the way up to 20 minutes. And then when you're done saving it, if something happens, like your computer shuts down, and you're like, oh, I forgot to save it, but you remember that you had it on autosave, and it was every minute, so you didn't lose a lot of work, as opposed to every 10 minutes, which you might have lost a lot of work if in that time you did a lot of work. Then you can click Cancel, come up here and click on the File tab, go to Info, and it will be sitting right here, the versions for you to go ahead and click on to recover that. Now, I go over this more in depth in my word training video, so you want to watch that. But for right now, I want to keep it simple and not go too far into depth here. But that's where it would be. Let's go back to Options. And let's go to the category Advanced. And right here for editing options, you have a maximum number of undos. So right now, if you make a mistake, and you keep making mistakes, like up to 20 of them, you can come up here on the Quick Access toolbar and hit Undo, 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 so you can go backwards as far back as 20 times. So if you need more undos, because once you get down the path of making more than 20 mistakes in that session, and you haven't closed out a PowerPoint, then you can go ahead and up that, but I'll keep it as 20 because I don't think I make that many mistakes, at least I hope not. And let's scroll down here just a bit to the display section, show this number of recent presentations. So if you remember when you opened up PowerPoint, it had the startup screen, and over on the left-hand side it had recent presentations. If you don't want to see if you didn't work on 25, because if you only worked on 5, it'll just show 5, but if you worked on 25 or more, and you don't want to see all 25 listed, then go ahead and say you just want to see the top 5 of the most recent presentations. That's good for me. You see these little eyes? If you hover over them, it'll give you a little bit more information if you forget this training video here that you can see in the pop-up. Change how many presentations are shown in the recent presentation list. And then down below in the slideshow section, while we're here, you've got end with black slide. That's the default. So when you have a presentation of 5 slides and you go through all 5 of them and you're done, when you're at the end of the slide number 5 and you click to go to the next slide, it'll show a black slide. And that way you know you're done with your presentation. But then again, it's your presentation. You ought to know what the last slide is. But it can be for a number of benefits. Maybe somebody else is giving the presentation and they're just winging it, so they don't know what the last slide is. In any case, if you don't need it, go ahead and uncheck it. And then when you end the presentation on slide number 5 or 6, whatever the end is, it'll go right to the program so everybody can see your program as you see it here. And then the last thing I want to cover is that startup screen. So as a quick reminder, let's close out. That when I close out of the presentation here, or the program, and I open up PowerPoint again, double click, it takes me right to the startup screen. If you don't like that and you want to go right to the blank presentation here and start from scratch every time you open up PowerPoint, then to set that up, just come up here and click on the File tab, go down to Options. On the General tab down below, show the start screen when this application starts. If you uncheck that and click OK, close out, and open up PowerPoint again, hey, you bypass that start screen completely, and it starts you with a blank slide from scratch here.